Let's my second question is, well, first, are we in a war on terror? And what is your view on this war that we're fighting?
Well, I believe we're under attack. I mean, when we look around, we're criticized for things we do because of our belief system. People every day, when a guy straps on explosive underwear to blow up a plane, I think you're under attack from terrorism.
What position would you take to address this terrorism and the threat that it poses?
Well, I believe that the technology that we have, we need to use it, and people will call it profiling, but if you're looking for a blue sedan and you say, well, let's go find all the red sedans, you're not going to find what you're looking for.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add on terror?
On terror? Well, I think we use every means at our disposal. When you think about how these people are getting in, we're giving them visas to come in. They're here legally. I've taken some flying lessons, and the first thing that I want to know is, when do we learn how to land this plane? It's great to be up here flying around and learn how to handle stalls and all that kind of stuff, but anybody in the right mind would want to know how to land the plane. So, somebody come in and ask for flight lessons and all they care about is flying the plane. That should have been a signal. We're just going to have to heighten our awareness, and it's going to take all of us thinking about things, just like that father reported that underwear bomber, and we didn't pass it on up the chain of command.
Well, I want to get your insight on that. As you say, do you think that you're referring to the terrorists from 9/11, correct? Mm-hmm. That were never told how to land a plane. I think
Right.
they were trained in Florida. Is that correct?
Right.
Do you think that political correctness had anything to do with that, of why they weren't turned in? Or even more recently, the Fort Hood attack. There was a military man in Fort Hood that had a lot of signs of being a terrorist. What do you think that political correctness had any play in that?
I don't know if political correctness. I think Americans in general have a sense of value and fair play and trusting of one another. And it's hard for most of us to fathom somebody getting in a plane and flying it into a building because they hate us that much. Same thing with people you work with. People are quirky. What they knew and how detailed it was, I think we always try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and sometimes we miss things that way.
The Roe versus Wade is a kind of an issue right now within Kentucky in both the Senate and 6th District races. Define where you stand on abortion.
Well, as a Christian father of 2 young children, I think life is a gift from God, and it begins at conception. The 50 million babies we've aborted. If that's not the American Holocaust, that's 1/6 of our population we've killed in roughly 40 years. I don't know how you can think that at some point you don't answer for that. So I believe that if you oppose that and you value life, then you attack that that court ruling at the federal level, at the state level. Anywhere you can get that stopped is a good thing. I do believe ultimately progressives keep bringing things up. I mean, we're dealing with things FDR brought up right now. And so unless you really get an amendment or something to protect life, you're going to see this again. We're going to be fighting this for until we're gone. So any way you can stop it right now is a good way. Any way you can slow it down, whether it's an ultrasound required test, I think is a good thing.
So the ultrasound bill, that is going through the state of Kentucky right now, you would support that?
Yes.
And if Roe versus Wade, if you were in Washington, Roe versus Wade came up to be overturned in state and federal court, or would you rather it be overturned and given back to the states?
Well, I think at any level it would be a good thing. I think we talked before about the president touring all 57 states. You're fighting 57 mini battles, and I understand there's a regional difference across the country in what you think you're going to get people to vote for, but I believe that if people really paid attention, if you think about 1/6 of your population, part of the thing we used to hear was, we need these illegal immigrants here because we have 30 million jobs Americans won't do. Well, if you hadn't aborted 50 million babies, you'd have all the employment you need. So there goes that argument for that we need them economically. You quit aborting those people and you won't need illegal immigrants coming in. So.
Last question. Second Amendment. What is your interpretation of the Second Amendment?
Second Amendment.
Yes.
I am a gun-toting, licensed gun carrier. I believe it's in the Constitution. I believe our rights are protected. That is one of those things that I think guarantees our liberties and our freedoms. First thing most socialist communist countries do is disarm their citizens. It's a whole lot easier to tell you what to do if you don't have some way to fight back. Matter of fact, the Israelis the other day, I was watching, they're shooting tear gas over there, and the other side's throwing rocks. I'm not a very good rock thrower, but I'm a pretty good aim. So.
Awesome. One more quick question. Recently, there was a legislation passed as a pay-as-you-go, and this past week there was a $10 billion spending bill that has come up to further the unemployment. And one of our U.S. senators stood up and said, no. How do you look at that process of what happened? And were you in support of our Senator Bunning, or what was your opinion?
I believe Senator Bunning is trying to stop the spending. There's money that has been laid out on the table in the stimulus bill that could have been used for this, but they're wanting to pile more debt on to extend the unemployment benefits. I know people are out there hurting. I've been asked that question myself this past week, what's he doing? But if you don't stop the spending, there's not going to be any country to get a job in, because we can't repay our debt.
If Congress used $10 billion of the stimulus bill and they wanted to expand the unemployment benefits, would you be in favor or opposed to that?
I would probably be opposed to continuing to pay long-term unemployment benefits. That money, if we would just cut the tax rates, allow business to expand, they would start employing people. The rest of the world's burning. Greece is burning, Spain's burning. Those people are looking for a safe haven to bring their money to. If we would give them some sound policy rules that they knew if they did X, Y was going to happen, that money would come in here so fast we wouldn't know where to put it, from investors, business, and people would go back to work. There are jobs out there. I talked to a guy the other day who he's an engineer, just got out of college, he's got a day job, and they're expecting their first child and they're looking for a house, so he went out and got an evening job working at a hardware store. Took him less than a week to get that job. And he said, and I had 2 other offers that came in after I took this one. So there are jobs out there. They're usually beneath what we've been trained to do and paid to do, but at this point, you take what you get. We've been known to dig ditches, put in underground electric and all that kind of stuff. So you do what you can.
People would argue, though, of what you just said, it might be a long-term solution, but immediately you still would not support funding of extending unemployment benefits. Correct?
From the beginning, if the stimulus bill was not there, I would not be in favor of.
But the stimulus bill is here.
It is here. I think you probably could spend that money to help people, but at some point you've got to quit extending the unemployment. I mean, you've got to motivate people to get a job, and some people take more motivation than others, especially if you're getting a check. And I know from talking to people that they've had opportunities to take jobs, crazy things about applying for jobs. One lady told me she applied for a job with one company. They had called her for one job that was a lower paying job than others they had advertised. But if she took this job, they would take her out of the pool for the other higher paying jobs. So she goes, job in this hand, potential for a higher paying job. She didn't take this job, and now her unemployment benefits are running out. So, you make personal choices, and we all sacrifice. You have to live with some of those choices.
All right. Well, this is John Kemper, and you can check out his website. It's johnkemperforcongress.com. John, thank you so much for sitting down with me. Appreciate it.